Kathi Quinn with Floriani. Floriani is a division of R&K Distributing, and I want to welcome you to the project of the week. While I was out traveling this week, I was in Fresno, having a great time at Authorized Back and Sew, and I had a couple of really good questions that I know we've answered, but I know there's confusion. So I thought we would discuss auto nap blocker. And that usually comes into play, especially now when people are getting ready for the holidays and they're stitching on fake fur or on those hideous 10 for a dollar Christmas stockings with that fur on the top. So we want to look at what is auto knocker and why is it important. Now I've got a new grandson, Bennett, and I just stitched out his stocking. Now his stocking was a quilted top, so there was no loft on it. But if it had loft, if it had had fuzz or fur or fake fur, I would have needed to do something to keep that loft from coming in between the B, the E, all in there, and especially over time. So what we would do is typically we grab it and we go up here and we go to auto nap blocker. And now nothing is happening. It's grayed out. That's because the program still sees this as text. So what you actually have to do is right mouse click on your text and break up text. That allows this to see it in a different light. So now when I come down and I select it, notice auto nap blocker has now taken on the ability to put a nap blocker behind. Now what this is this puts a fine grid behind it, but if you'll notice the grid's at an angle. It's not just a 90-degree grid, because this way it kind of slides and sneaks underneath the fabric, underneath that fuzz, and it will keep your design looking good through all time. Now we match the auto blocking part, the nap blocker part, your grid. You're going to match that to the closest color on your stocking. So if your stocking happens to have white fake fur, you're going to stitch this in white. Now Bennett, you're going to stitch in red or green or whatever you're going to put him in. But what we want this to do is blend and kind of shuffle in with that fur. And this doesn't matter if you're doing names or anything, any type of fur that you're stitching a design on. Let's just come in. Let's get a new piece of paper. Let's come to my library. And we all know I like to go to the free monthly designs. Ooh, didn't get there. Free monthly designs. Let's go to November 2019. And let's look at our free designs here. Oh, I like that one. Let's come to the bottom. I like this Happy Thanksgiving. Okay, so now with this, if I were going to stitch this, say, on a dish towel that had nap on it, I would come in here and I would select it and I would use auto nap blocker. Now why didn't I have to go in and break up text and everything? Because this was digitized different and it was saved as a PES design, so it has lost the fact that that happened to be lettering. So I'm going to hit my auto nap blocker, and there it's going to take care of behind my Happy Thanksgiving. If I want to put this, say, on a minky blanket, or I want to put it on a towel that's got loft, there goes that auto nap blocker. And this goes for anything. If I want to put a design on for a little girl, let's go to our library and let's go to our free monthly designs. Let's hit around July. July's got more kidsy looking things. There we go. Let's say I want to put back here. I'm going to put this pencil. So I've got this pencil and I want to put it on a minky blanket. So I'm going to go ahead and select the pencil and I'm going to use Nap Blocker. Now what's going to happen is that's going to stitch that minky blanket down so that I can keep that design looking fresh and good. Now here's how it goes. See, it's going to stitch a straight and then it's going to stitch your grid. Now comes our design. And now that minky can't escape and can't come up and make a mess of anything. It's not as critical with something as much like that pencil as it is critical with something that's got open space in it that it could take abuse of. Let's bring this guy in. See, I've got this open space right here. So with that open space, I'm going to get minky making the run. So by grabbing this and coming up to our auto nap blocker, I'm not going to have to worry in here about any of that minky coming up. And like I say, it's very unobtrusive. In fact, it kind of blends in down. That's why it's kind of got that angle in it. It blends in down to the pile on your fabric. So while Auto Nap Blocker is certainly not a new tool, it's a tool that has been forgotten, or as the problems they were having in Fresno, why didn't it work with lettering? Well, because you had to break up the text to make it not lettering. So I hope that gives you some fun coming up with the holidays, because it's a time when we stitch names on blankets. We do all kinds of stuff with minky and fur and feather and faux fur, and this way, having your auto nap blocker, it's a good time to be refreshed and to remember how this tool works. So I look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a great week.